This is the Brandon Smith Show, and I am your host, Brandon Smith. And the entire purpose of the show is one singular thing, and that's to help you live a life that much more free from dysfunction. So it has been a while since we've had a leadership therapy segment.
It has been. Amen.
A while. And so we are back at leadership therapy today. And so to help us on this journey, my amazing producer, co-host, and colleague on the leadership therapy segment. What's the finger pointing for?
Because I only got amazing. Colleague and co-host.
Yeah, you were picking on me earlier today. So you only got one.
Okay.
Yeah. Whitney Mendoza is joining us today. And Whitney, today, our topic is weird coworker stories. Is that correct?
Weird coworker problems. Hashtag.
Weird coworker problems. Hashtag.
Weird.
Hashtag weird coworker problems.
It was trending on Twitter. I found this. These are good.
So this was actually trending.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So here's what we're going to do.
Okay.
I've not heard any of these. You're going to give me a couple.
Okay, good.
I'm going to do my very best. Hopefully, we'll see how this goes, folks, because I have no idea. I'm going to try and offer some solutions.
Okay.
And we'll see if there's probably likely going to be a case where I'm just going to throw up my hands and be like, I don't know. But if I can offer advice, if you're dealing with one of these, I'm going to do my very best. But people are messy.
We're coming out the gate with a strong one. Like I had
That's how you do this show.
That came to my mind when I read this. So this one's good. I think you'll have an answer for this, and it's going to help a lot of people. This is a common thing. Right?
Okay, I'm excited. I can't just have excited if I'm feeling pressure.
I feel like this is going to be a softball, but a problem many people face.
Okay, I'll take weird coworker problems for 400.
Okay, here we go. I work with a control freak that will not allow anyone to help her, but complains about being overworked. Mic drop.
I'm sorry. Were you going to share a problem, or are you just going to talk about your own issues?
This is not about me.
Oh, that wasn't you?
I don't know, Brandon.
That sounded familiar, Brandon.
On Twitter.
Okay, so read it one more time.
I work with a control freak that will not allow anyone to help her.
Okay.
But she complains about being overworked.
The martyr. Oh, we just love him. The martyr. Okay, so let's talk about the martyr. First, let's put ourselves in some context. If you work in a not-for-profit role or sector, you are going to be surrounded by this person.
Ooh.
They are all over the place. They are drawn to not-for-profits. They love it. And
interesting.
It's almost as if so this can be nonprofits, big ones, small ones. It can be churches. It can be schools. It can be anything that feels like it's got kind of a missional element to it. I was having lunch with a pastor friend of mine, and he said, sometimes in church offices, he says, it's like whoever works the hardest or longest, it's as if they believe in their mind Jesus loves them more.
Wow.
So there's this, but I'm going to suffer for everybody else.
Mm-hmm.
And martyrs are sneaky dangerous. So on the surface, you say, oh my gosh, what a great person to have here. Like they still sacrifice and they work so hard and they work so long. But what they don't do is they don't ask for help. Okay. They will not share. That's the other important thing about martyrs. They don't share, and they are very resistant to change. So they'll end up creeping into a lot of other things, doing lots of things outside of their job description.
Yeah.
And that's part of what makes them overworked. So when I've worked with nonprofits, and inevitably one of these people, they do it enough years, they end up having health issues, and they actually end up getting hospitalized.
Oh, wow.
That's often what happens to these people. So then when they're gone, people say, I know she was working 70 hours a week, but I'm not really sure what she was doing, because they were doing a little bit of everything and not really just their job.
Yeah.
So if you've got somebody like this and you're a coworker, it's a little tricky because they may not want your help, but I would go into it kind of the way you want to approach this, assuming you want to help them. Okay, assuming this person wants to help this person or work better together, reinforce their belief system, because you can't change their belief system. So their belief system is, if I work more and self-sacrifice, I'll be liked more, loved more. That somewhere they've gotten that programming in their brain.
Yeah. Or that their job is safe.
Or their job is safe. So you
Yeah.
want to come in reinforcing that by saying, hey, I'm going to, because I know this would never be Whitney. We'll just use the name Whitney
Of course.
as an example. Air quotes. So, hey, Whitney, I know you've been working so hard, and I really, really appreciate it. We all do. I can't believe how hard you work. And the last thing I'd want to see is you feeling overworked or burned out. What can I be doing to help? Is there anything I could be doing that would be helpful for you? Now, here's one more tricky thing about these kinds of people, the martyr types. They have a little bit of also makes them messy. They like codependent relationships.
Okay.
So they want you to rescue them without them asking. So they want you to just kind of know and just kind of do it without them kind of really asking. Not
That's
healthy.
interesting.
It's not healthy. And then they'll punish you if you don't. They're like, couldn't she see that I was stressed out? And she still asked me to do that. I can't believe she did that.
Yeah.
Couldn't she tell? Doesn't she know how hard I work around here? Yet won't actually say, hey, I've got a lot on my plate. I'm kind of stressed out right now. They won't actually say it. So this person needs therapy, just to be very blunt and frank. So you won't be able to fix them, but you can manage around them. And the way is to kind of reinforce their belief system and see if there's ways you can kind of get some things off their plate and support them better. But do be careful, because the more they kind of bring in their fold, the harder it's going to be to take it away.
Mm-hmm. That one escalated rather quickly.
What? In terms of my answer?
Yeah. Well, it was interesting because I didn't think about what you said in the sense of they want you to help them or rescue them, but they're not going to come out and say that.
Yeah.
And I see that, again, like I said, I had a couple of names come to mind when we were talking about this first one, but I agree with that. I can totally see where that would happen.
Yeah. They want to be helped, but they don't want to ever have to ask for it. And they're heavily underneath this is a sense of resentment. They're resentful that they should have to ask.
Yeah.
Or resentful that they're doing so much. Resentful, yet they won't actually have the adult conversation.
Interesting.
So getting them there is the work of a therapist. And if you try and push them hard, they will push back hard. So be careful too. You don't want to be direct and say, you just need to tell me when you need help.
Yeah.
They're going to push back harder on that.
Yeah.
So unless you're the boss. If you're the boss, you can have some more difficult conversations. But know that it's not going to, it may not go exactly how you would hope.
Okay, can I just read this next one because it's just funny? This may be a hand thrower upper.
Okay.
Okay.
So was this weird coworkers for like 500?
I would say so. Yeah.
For 500.
Yeah. Weird.
Okay, I'll take weird coworkers for 500.
Weird coworker problems.
Weird coworker problems for 500.
True story. Had a guy working for me who couldn't get through a shift without eating a dill pickle dipped in grape Kool-Aid. Who does this?
Yeah.
That's so gross.
Yeah. A dill pickle dipped in grape Kool-Aid.
Yep, that was it. Okay.
Couldn't get through a shift without doing that. Okay.
I don't really know what you do for that.
I don't think,
Okay.
as long as it's not really bothering anybody, I guess that's okay. But if it's bothering people, although I don't think I would be able to go without asking him, how did you come up with that combination?
Yeah.
Like, did a pickle fall in the grape Kool-Aid one day?
And you were like, oh, hey,
That's
5 second
kind of
rule.
like it's the sweet and salty.
I don't know. Again, that one was just funny. Okay, this one's good. You ready?
I'm ready.
This is kind of funny too. Weird coworker problems. 8 of Daryl's grandpas have died so far this year. 8 of Daryl's grandpas have died so far this year. I think we got a chronic liar over here.
Well, he might really. I don't know.
8.
I don't know. I don't want to place any
that-
judgment. That is possible. There would be a lot of
Brandon.
remarrying. There'd be a lot of remarrying.
Brandon, no.
No,
This
it's
is
not.
not.
It's not possible.
Mm-mm.
I think, yeah.
Uh-huh.
Well, I think then it does become an issue if you're thinking about, I'm assuming Daryl's missing days of work because he's got funerals and grieving.
I think so, yes.
That's a lot of time off. So, yeah, I would probably. but that I wouldn't never want to cross the line. Like I've heard of stories where people say you got to produce a death certificate or something like that, and it's like that's a little excessive.
But what do you do? I would start to question, like, Daryl, we need to talk.
Yeah.
Maybe next time he's got 6 flat tires.
See, this begs another kind of more fundamental issue for me. I don't love a lot of strict policies because they essentially, you know, they treat us more. They are designed to prevent childish behavior, but in essence, they treat everyone like a child.
Right, that's true.
But you get somebody like a Daryl who kind of messes things up, and now you got to have a policy.
Yeah.
And say now you're only going to get 5 days, grieving days, or you might go to a lot of companies do, and they say, look, you get 15 personal days.
Right.
Use them however you like, but that's all you get. And so it probably, when you have a case like this, it begs, what's the policy? I can't even believe I said that. I'm not a policy guy. I really hate it just because it's very limiting. But situations like this, makes people have policies.
It's really just common sense and be respectful of your bosses and your coworkers. That gets you so far.
I would agree.
All right. Do we have time for one more?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Keep going. We just started playing this.
I don't want any cross looks from any of you in this studio when I read this one.
This is weird coworker problems for 1,000.
Talks about her gluten intolerance issues during lunch break every day. Every day during lunch break.
For those of you who do not know this, which is probably all of you, I don't think Whitney shared this, except she just went on a 30-minute tirade before the show about her gluten intolerance.
I ordered gluten-free pasta.
Oh, we must tell the story again?
They did
Apparently,
not.
we must tell
They did not give me
the story
gluten-free
again.
pasta. And when you go a year without gluten and you consume a bowl of gluten...
It was a great experience. You had fun?
2 weeks. I thought I was going to die.
So
anyway, yep.
So this one becomes very real for me because I have a coworker.
I backed into it
with these kind of weird problems.
At least I wasn't talking about it over lunch.
So let's
Goodness.
just call. We'll call this coworker Wanda. Okay.
Why do they all have to have W's?
So I don't know why I picked a W to start the name of this. So Wanda, okay. I think I would say to Wanda, I would channel my best inner therapist. I'd recommend this to everyone out there and kind of acknowledge what you're hearing and say, gosh, Wanda, it sounds like gluten has really been an issue for you. Is there anything we could be doing to help you with this? Because I don't want this to be a source of frustration for you on a daily basis, like it has been.
Is that how you would say it?
Maybe not quite with the...
If anyone has gluten-free recipes, that'd be awesome.
Yeah. So I think you can say that. It seems like it's a big source of frustration for you every day. It seems like we're talking about it every day, and I know that's a big thing for you, and I'd love to help you. Is there anything I can do to help you? And that might, if Wanda has any level of emotional intelligence, so average or higher, then she'll think about that a little bit and say, okay, yeah, maybe we'll not talk about it every day. If her EQ is low, which odds are probably is given she's bringing it up every single day, she'll just keep talking about it every day. So in which case, don't go to lunch with Wanda anymore. Just avoid that time with her. Some people, they don't get the hint, and you have a choice there. You can be very direct and say, stop it. I don't want to talk about your gluten issues anymore. We've talked about that. And it's pretty one-sided. It's about you all the time. And that's really not, I don't think there's anything I can do to help you with that.
Maybe you just buy Wanda a loaf of gluten-free bread and stick it on her desk.
Well, that may be another thing, too. Why is she complaining about it? I mean, is the company bringing in food every day and it's loaded with gluten and that's triggering the conversation? Yeah. Is there something that's prompting it? Then maybe you can help her. But I think in this case, she's wanting to be heard. So acknowledge it. Ask her what you can do to help. But if she stays in that spot, she might just want to stay in that spot. And then she's just kind of likes the attention or the chronic complaining. And so, yeah. So that's what I got to say. So, folks, we're at break. So we're gonna take our break from our weird coworker problem Jeopardy. And when we come right back, I think Whitney has got a few more for me.
I do.
And
Wanda will be back.
We'll go on to see what else we can be taking on. So stay tuned. We'll be right back. Hey, this is Brandon with your coaching minute for the week. So I've got a tip for you that I put on most of my clients' action plans that you may think it sounds a little crazy. So hear me out. I want you to designate one of your colleagues or coworkers, somebody maybe works in a different department that maybe a peer of yours that you don't work with every day. And I want you to intentionally plan on having lunch with one colleague or coworker a month. So all I'm asking for is one lunch a month. And you may say to yourself, Brandon, that's such a waste of time. I don't have time to have lunch with people. But what I have found for my clients that's been able to do this is they come back and they say, not only was it so valuable to learn more about them as a person, I learned really important stuff going on in their departments. And they learned important stuff going on in mine. And we were able to share information, and we both agreed it was a really good use of our time. So that's my challenge to you. Designate a day of the month that you're willing to go out to lunch with a coworker. Go find one. Go out to lunch, and I promise you, you're going to be glad you did. It's going to help you be more productive, operate more efficiently and effectively, and strengthen some of those relationships that we all need. So that is your coaching minute for the week. Until next week, I can't wait to hear how it goes. Welcome back to the Brandon Smith Show. Of course, I'm your host, Brandon Smith, and today we are talking about weird coworker problems. We're playing Weird Coworker Problem Jeopardy with my wonderful, wonderful co-host, Whitney Mendoza, aka Wanda. And we just hit a couple right out of the gate, some good ones. A couple I didn't have an answer for. I didn't know what you do when you got a pickle dipped in grape Kool-Aid, other than as long as it's not bothering you, just go to Twitter and let other people enjoy your funkiness that you get to experience at work. How about another one?
So this one, not as funny. I've got a couple more of them left. But again, I think
Is it serious? What is this?
This one is serious.
Is this a 100, a 200, a 400, 600, 800, 1,000?
Maybe a 2.
200.
Yeah, because it's serious, but it's got no ha-ha value.
Weird coworker problems for 200, please. Wanda.
Expecting to be automatic friends.
Oh.
So new hires, or maybe get a new cube mate.
Feels a little icky to me.
Yeah.
I would be curious as to what friends, quote unquote, friends means. Does this mean like besties in the office? Does this mean like, hey, what are you doing after work? Hey, let's go on out.
Yeah.
Hey, what are you doing this weekend? If it's, I think there's two levels of that, right? If it's in the workplace, there might be some room to play in that a little bit, but if it's bleeding into the outside the workplace, that feels, either way, this is poor boundaries.
Yeah.
So this falls in the category of poor boundaries, and you got to worry about, other kind of codependent stuff going on here. But I would be curious about that. And do we have any more details?
Well, so there's a gift. Do you know what that is? Brandon, you know what a gift is? Not a gift.
I am entertaining any offers for co-hosts.
Okay.
If anyone would like to submit their name to be a potential co-host on the Brandon Smith Show, I would love to hear from you.
Your name can't be Wanda. He doesn't like Wanda.
I do know what a GIF is.
So there's this GIF, and they're clearly, of course, again, this is on Twitter, but they're clearly in an office setting because there's like a whiteboard going on, but there's two girls, and there's like one, and she's smiling really big, and she's reaching over to her other gal pal and putting her arm, and the one coworker's like, ooh, don't touch me. Like, we're not buds. This maneuver. Yeah. And her face is quite different from her smiling
So there's touching.
coworker.
That could be a thing too.
Yeah. Maybe it's like a high five that doesn't get returned.
So just to go back to the example, it's a new coworker, like this person just started, or the coworker started, or who's the...
It does not say just as expecting to be automatic friends. So that's what I'm thinking. Could be a new coworker. Maybe you're working on a project together, or maybe a new cube cube mate, like if there's been some change up and you get a new seed or something like that, maybe?
I would say this. So let's. I'm going to take a different spin on this. Are you ready?
Okay, I'm ready.
Completely different spin. That was the spin.
Oh, that was. Okay.
Yeah, that was the spin. What if it's not the coworker who has the problem?
It's the boss?
No, what if it's this person who has the problem? The person who typed it.
Oh. Well, they probably do, yeah.
You know, what if the person's just being super friendly and they're new to this job, the person who wrote this in.
I see what you're saying.
And they're like, oh, whoa, no, no.
So they want to be friends with everyone.
So maybe this person's not as extreme as they say they are, but they just are very like, I don't really.
Yeah.
I like to have a lot of distance from people and space.
Uh-huh.
So I would say is check yourself if this is you. Is just ask yourself how much of this is a me issue versus how much of this is the coworker issue. Maybe the coworker's just being super friendly.
Yeah. And
you're not used to it. You know, you come from a culture or you come from an environment where people just come sit, very quiet at work and just do their work. And then now this person's like bubbly and chatting with you. So I say this to say no need to come right out of the gate and be rude. Be friendly in return. Where it becomes an issue is when this person starts to encroach on your time, professional or personal. So if they're coming in and preventing you from getting work done because they're being all chatty or sitting on your desk next to you while you're trying to work, that becomes an issue. Or where they're kind of trying to insert themselves into your after hours activities, that becomes an issue. But if they're just being happy and cheery and bubbly, that's maybe you don't like that personality type, but there's nothing fundamentally wrong with it.
So how do you let them down gently? If you're like, hey.
If you're not really, if they're trying to get your time?
Yes.
Say, I think you can start off by apologizing. Say, I'm so sorry. And unfortunately, I'm already busy tonight. Or, hey, I'm so sorry. I would love to chat right now, but I've got to get this report done and I'm super behind. That can be one way. But it might just be easier to find another work location. If you need to really concentrate and they're going to interrupt, because some people are just very social.
Yeah.
Just find some kind of meeting room to work in, or coffee shop, or just walk down the hall. Do work somewhere else.
Yeah. Okay, I have another piece of this too, because this got me thinking. What if it's like, because now, in the workplace we have things like instant messaging or something like Slack.
Yeah.
So what if you've got someone that's constantly sending you messages on Slack? Is it okay to like snooze notifications, or what do you do in those virtual realms?
I think that's an issue that is probably, so from my experience talking to different generations, I think that's going to be a increasing issue for people coming into the workplace who are used to being engaging with via multiple social media channels.
Yeah.
So I work with one organization, technology company, average age is probably early 30s, and they use Slack for everything. And when I was working with a group of some of their kind of more seasoned professionals, they said, yeah, you could basically spend your entire day just on Slack.
Yeah.
And not actually do any work.
That's true.
Because there are Slack channels for everything. So what the more seasoned folks, the older folks, they say we just either turn it off or just only go to certain channels.
Yeah.
And we let everybody know that. So I think that's part of it too. Whatever you choose to do, make sure you're communicating that.
Okay.
In absence of communication, people assume
the worst.
The worst. Wanda, remember something. Yes. So if you just stop communicating, the people are like, oh, Wanda doesn't like me anymore. And then all of a sudden they become a frenemy. And we don't need frenemies. So just say, hey, folks, I'm super busy. I'm slammed. And I've noticed I have a tendency to get sucked into Slack because I really, really like it. So I'm going to kind of keep myself away from it. So if you notice I'm not around that much anymore, don't take it personally.
Yeah.
So I would set that boundary. But I think what I'm finding is folks in their 20s and 30s in professional environments are figuring that out a little bit more. Folks in maybe they're in their late 30s or 40s didn't have Slack, so it's not a natural part of their life. So it's easy for them to just be like, I'm not even going to go there.
Yeah.
But I do think navigating that's important.
Okay. Good insight there, Brandon.
Okay. I try.
A lot of these have to do with food. I'm not really sure
Stinky food?
where this
Stealing food?
Hiding food.
Hiding food.
Yeah, but hiding food and other foods. Okay, you ready? I know we've all dealt with this. Okay, here's another one. This one might be worth 500, Brandon.
Weird coworker problems for 500, Wanda.
Tells us about the vegetables they hid in the cookies after we bite into them. So, like, here's a chocolate chip muffin. Just kidding. Made it with zucchini and quinoa.
Okay.
It's happened.
Well, I get that.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
What that's, I don't know. I'm speechless, folks. This is like,
Was that two? That and the pickle Kool-Aid? The Kool-Aid pickle?
So from my perspective, as soon as they do that to me one time,
you're never eating anything.
I'm never eating anything from them again.
Sense.
Either that or I'm going to ride them really, really hard.
Yeah.
Like, what's in that? No, really, what's in that?
Yeah.
No, really, what's in that? And then I would like make up stuff. Like, did you put sausage in the cookies? What did you? I would really ride them hard for being sneaky like that, or might even do it back to them. Just give them a cookie or a donut and say, "Oh, I should have told you what I put in that," and then just walk away. And just Of course, then again, they might go tell HR. It's probably not good.
That's true.
I wouldn't listen to me on that piece of advice.
Okay, maybe just label it. People.
But I do think that's a very kind of you know what that feels like? Immediately the image that came to mind, it's like mom with a 4-year-old.
Yeah.
Like trying to get the 4-year-old to eat a eat vegetables, but the 4-year-old resists. So rather than the mom like making or the dad making them eat it, they're like, "Oh, I'm going to be sneaky." My wife and I have met parents that do this. I don't think it's healthy parenting. They're proud of themselves for like sneaking vegetables into cookies and brownies, and like, "Well, I made so and so. They ate the vegetables, but they didn't know it." You're just creating more of a sneaky thing.
Yeah.
So I don't think it's very healthy behavior.
Yeah.
But it's weird to do that to a coworker.
Yeah, well, it happens.
I've had that happen on family, and it's kind of like awkward because then like you said, you don't trust them the next time they bring food around. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
I definitely agree with that.
Yeah. Trust formula. That's credibility is the part of the trust formula.
True.
Credibility. Lose credibility. So yeah. Okay.
Trust goes to zero.
Trust goes to zero.
Okay. This one's good. This one might be the zinger, Brandon, on what we can do for these people.
Oh yeah?
Yeah.
Is this like the final coworker problems?
It's final countdown, yeah.
Jeopardy question?
Yep.
Like our final one?
It was between this one or the guy who brings his parrot to work. I don't really know what you do about that either.
That sounds good too.
That one might get stinky. You can do that in the bonus round if you want, if we have time.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, here we go.
Here's this one. This is probably more likely to help.
Final weird coworker problem, Jeopardy question. I'm letting it all ride.
They magically disappear when you need them.
Oh, the ghost. Mm-hmm. The ghosting coworker. Fantastic. We talk about this on the Halloween show, by the way. Folks.
October's coming, by the way.
Yeah, it is. So they magically disappear. Okay, so if you know they are going to do that, you can actually, I feel good. I'm going to make
I knew
my
it.
money on this
I
show.
knew it. Wanda knows.
This is a good one because this is a real issue. This is an issue, not like a pickle and grape Kool-Aid where you just kind of scratch your head like weird, but not really an issue. This is an issue because you need them, and they have a way of magically disappearing.
Yes.
So I would, if you've seen that happen enough times, then what you need to do is try and figure out a way to either one, identify where they go, so you kind of know when they ghost, where do they go, because they often don't go to the same place, or find another way to get them. So what you can find with ghosts is there's typically one kind of way of communicating which will pull them out of their hole.
Okay.
So some respond to text. They won't respond to anything, but if you text them, then they'll come out of the hole. Some phone call. This will vary by generation. Some instant message, some email, whatever happens to be. And then some, it's from the right person. So maybe you can't get them, but someone else can. So I had a colleague of mine that I worked with years ago, and he would do this. He would ghost, and he would go into these holes, and I couldn't find him. And it would be on stuff that like I needed his answer on. And I would send him emails, nothing. Leave him a voicemail, nothing. This was before texting. So this is what I would just send out smoke signals, I guess, is what happened before texting. Pigeon. So what I would have to do is I would have to call his house after hours, get his wife on the phone, and say, take the phone over to him and stick it next to his ear. And then I could talk to him.
That's rough.
So you got to find both the channel, but also the right person. So maybe you got to get their boss to do it, or you got to get another coworker. And then because the ghosts can come, they all have their way to come out of ghosting. You just have to know the right channel and the right person if it's not you.
Wow.
So because you learn that, and then you can know when to pull that lever to get them out.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think you win weird coworker problems Jeopardy.
Weird coworker problems Jeopardy. Okay,
Yeah,
folks.
you
Well,
win, Brandon.
at least for now, I'm the returning champ. Don't know if that's going to be the case after the next show, but stay tuned for our next leadership therapy. And Whitney, thank you for
Almost forgot. My name is Whitney. That was Wanda.
joining us today. This was really good.
Glad to be
I
here.
enjoyed
Brandon.
this.
It was
I
good.
will get you some pickles.
Yeah, I was gonna say I need to try
Here's
that.
the beautiful thing about pickles. Gluten-free. Gluten-free.
That's true.
Gluten-free. You can have as many as you like. And you get tired of the flavor? What do you need to do? Dip it in grape Kool-Aid.
If you get tired of that, cherry.
So thank you for listening and watching. Keep up the fight against workplace dysfunction every week as we drop a new show. Of course, you can follow us on Facebook Live and listen to us on iTunes if you're not. Go to theworkplacetherapist.com for more resources for you. Everything from the workplace happiness ebooks to watching past episodes, the blog. And until our next show next week, have a great week and an awesome life.